I wear a turban to follow the 10th Guru Gobind Singh Ji, who basically instructed Sikhs to wear a turban so that in public they could be easily identified, and I like to be identified as a Sikh.
We wear turban to look after our hair. Well, this is been given by our God that we should wear turban.
Wearing a turban has different reasons. Like one of them is protecting ourselves. When we were used to be in the wars, this used to protect us. And the kind of turban I wear were worn by the warriors in those times. They even had a ring on them, so if the sword come over on it, it gets slide over. So it is a better protection. Even if you ride a bike or something else, you need a helmet to wear. It's compulsory, but for us it's not, because we already have protection for our head.
Because when we get baptized, we have to cover our hair with a turban, you know.
Because I'm a baptised Sikh. Well, it sets me aside from the rest of the population, and it shows everyone that I'm baptised. So I believe in the Sikh faith, and I respond to the Sikhism way of life.
I wear a turban because it's a part of my identity.
My grandfather had a turban, my father had a turban, my brother's got a turban, my father-in-law, now I'm married, wears a turban, my husband wears a turban, and my brother-in-law, so all men in my life wear a turban. So I'm always surrounded by people with turbans.
Yeah, it just shows off your identity.
But to a Sikh, it is a mark of his dignity. The most important part of me is my turban.
Because I'm a Sikh and I'm proud of it to wear it.
You stand out, you know what I mean, and that's a sign of a Sikh.
Yes, I've got uncle who wears turban, and my dad and my brothers, none of them got turbans.
Also, I think it's symbolic of someone like that's kind of let go of their vanity in a way. I'd say I'm too vain to wear a turban, and that kind of like, it doesn't, if I was to wear a turban, I don't think it would be for the right reasons.
I was wearing turban when I was a young boy in school, and when I came to England, I stopped wearing the turban. I cut my hairs, and then now nearly 20 years I start wearing the turban again. It's a part of my life because I belong to Sikh.
We wear a turban to stand out. Our identity is our turban. Very special because it identifies that you're Sikh.
It feels a part of me.
We wear it to identify a Sikh.
I'm a Sikh, a true believer of Sikhism.
Practicing Sikh, and as a practicing Sikh, we are ordered to wear a turban. We are ordered to wear a turban.
It's an inseparable part of myself, really. That's the way I see it.
We wear a turban to show that we're a Sikh and we don't cut our case,
like crown to us.
Well, this is what we call a badga, which is a turban that we put on younger children. Well, my husband and I both have our hair cut. For us it was very important for him to have a turban, to have long hair, so he got used to the culture. It's the cultural thing. He chose to keep his hair long and keep him with a turban, and then from now and then on, if he's older he chooses not to, we've at least given him the right start and given him those values to begin with.
For men it's a crown, so for women it's a crown as well. If men represents a king, then woman represents a queen.
I think the reason why people wear a turban is a sense of identity, and also it's a way of differentiating between Sikhs and non-Sikhs. People wear it with pride and they're proud of their religion, stand out from the crowd.
Because I'm a Sikh and I never cut my hair.
I think that the turban shows that Sikhs are like unique in their own way and they follow their religion.
It's a matter of pride for me.
To a Sikh, turban sanctifies his duty to God, his guru, his family, his society and his country.
Because I'm Singh, I'm come from India, you see, because my personality is Mr. Singh. Any more questions?
Turban you tie anywhere you want.
I chose the style through watching my father and my big brother tying their turbans and my uncles tying their turbans, and just through trial and error and trying something that suits me, and obviously slightly changed from when I first started it, and it's just practice makes perfect really.
Everyone has their own identity, everyone's different, but yet again the philosophy behind Sikhism is equality. But it's the identity of an individual is different to others. Everyone has a different type of turban. I think that's our image that we will bring going forward, and it's kind of finding yourself.
In this turban, you cannot see the edge where it starts. This is the significance of this turban. In the wars, we had a mini fight with Mughals, so I'll just say Mughals. Mughals used to hold their turbans and take it off. But in this, you cannot hold it anywhere because it's round. It's just preserving some old kind of tying turbans. This is one of the old kind of turbans. Now people nowadays wear different styles, new styles. I'm just preserving the culture.
Okay, so I'm a big Bhangra fan. That's the Asian with Punjabi music. And there was a group called Achanak who have been singing for years, and the lead singer for that band used to wear a small turban like this. Since I was a kid, I used to like the way he wore his turban, so I just learned. At first I used to ask my dad to tie it on me like that, because I didn't know how to tie it to begin with. As I grew older and I started learning it for myself, I kind of made the style myself, and I tie it now, like I have been doing for all these years.
People who tie turbans, they've been tying them for years, and obviously they've come to a stage where they say, oh, this suits me. You know what I mean? And maybe other people compliment it as well. Oh, you know what? You've tied your turban nice today. And people think, well, you know what I mean? If this looks nice, I'll keep it like this.
When I started wearing a turban, it started off a little bit different. As time went on, it just became a part of me. So it has changed as I've kind of changed. But I prefer to have it round just because that's the way it feels comfortable for me.
Well, I've come from India. I was born and brought up in India. So their style of turban in India, back in Punjab, is completely different to what people have different styles in UK.
There are so many styles, but what I'm wearing now, that's my style now.
The younger you are, like me and Vic, we wear these ones, but the older people, they tend to wear the bigger turbans.
I like my husband's turban style.
There are different styles. Maybe the style which I'm wearing, it is Ludhiana style. Then there is a Patiala style as well. And you can have a Doaba style. And younger children here, and particularly the people who came from Kenya, they wear Kenyan style turban. So there are styles. Sometimes you can identify people with this style of turban, but otherwise religiously it doesn't mean anything, you know. So there is no religious significance to this style.
The inspiration I got was actually from my grandfather. His style of turban was something I wanted to follow.
So we can have 3-4 different styles, but this is the original one, so I stick to the original one.
My style of turban is quite a simple style because it's folded neatly, it's very easily to tie, and that's why I chose mine. Military as well back in the First and Second World Wars. Obviously the turbans were much larger, but this is how they tied them, like in pleats, and so they were very neat and tidy.
Turban nowadays is a part of like a fashion as well. So nowadays all the youngsters wear the same color turban matching their tie and shirts, and it's in various designs as well.
I chose the style because I didn't want to wear a turban because it would be too heavy for me, so I chose to wear a patka because it's light, and then when I grow older I learned from my dad how to tie a turban.
To a religious person, colour has significance, and that significance is usually blue is for devotion or religion. Orange colour some people wear, that is for sacrifice. That means you are willing to sacrifice yourself for the sake of good over evil. Black is a colour associated with rejection or protest. If you have got a point to prove that you don't agree with certain aspects of society or whatever, you can wear black and that would denote protest. But otherwise, white is for purity. Of course, in all religions, white is always associated with the purity of life. So that way, only a religious person, or if I'm in an event which is a religious type, I may wear different colors, orange or blue, white, most likely.
I tend to stick to 4 colours, so it's either going to be blue, black. I never wear orange, but I wear white on occasions, and I just stick to those, just as it's part of my dress code.
Black and blue and white, white being spiritual, black being political, but it just goes, whatever goes with your top, I suppose, now.
Quite a lot of people have pride and they kind of tend to match with their shirts or match at work and things like that.
For him, he chose to have red ones because he supports Man United.
The colour, well, before I got married, I only wore black. With everything, because it went with everything. I had a blue turban, I also had a maroon turban, but I never wore it. Since I've got married, I've started wearing all the different colours. Most of the time is to match my wife's dress, basically. So if we're going to a wedding or we're going to a party, that's where I've started wearing coloured turbans. But I just like wearing them now. I don't wear black. I can't even remember where I wore my black turban last.
So many colors, but especially in the Gurdwara, there is blue color and orange color. But now is fashion, I wear every color, which is suit to my shirt.
How heavy you can take, or 5 or 6 meters really normally?
Wrapping around in about 2-3 minutes and go to work, so for me it's about 5 meters.
Mine's about 5 meters as well. I think it's one of them, the longer your length of your turban, the more difficult it is to tie. It takes a lot more time, there's a lot more preparation involved. So I think 5 meters sort of is a happy medium for me.
Mine is 5 meters long, and my husband's is almost double that.
But I think someone tried to wear 24-meter turban to have their name in Guinness Book of Record and all, so that can be done. People can wear longer turbans. Mine is 8 meter.
My material is, I would say, about 3 meters.
Usually 5 meter.
I think it's 4 meters.
Between 5 to 7 meters.
2 meters is plenty for me, you know.
When I came in 1959, I was under 15 and I went to school, Christ Church Bowland School. And at that time, it was a novelty. People used to see Sikh, used to surprise, and even my teachers, my people I'm going to school with, they used to love turban, and we used to have a good time. No discrimination at all. Years and years later, when we start working, we did had some difficulty getting jobs with turban. Used to be, there's many places like a court hall, buses, they don't used to take turban people as a worker there. But in 1967-8, I was the first man who started in a court hall. But when I went there, then at that time people start taking turban peoples at work, and to me they just mentioned that we not used to take turban people because the turban is very respectable and the job is too dirty, but they took me on.
My husband did. When he first came in this country, he was wearing turban and he had a proper long hair, uncut hair, but because he couldn't find any employment to survive, he had to cut his hair. That was the main problem.
My elder brother used to have turban until he came to England. Because people used to make fun of him, he had it removed. But that's talking in 1963, it's a long time ago. So now it's a different story altogether really, because turban is well known now. People say why they have removed a turban. The reason for work, they worked hard to bring us up. So I think it's a really good way to do it. Even though my dad didn't have a turban, that doesn't mean he wasn't a Sikh. He preached as a Sikh, he was born as a Sikh, so it was Sikh through really.
In the late 70s I started high school, and there was only a few of us with actual turbans on at school, and we used to have a lot of problems wearing turbans. The older children used to sort of knock our turbans off our heads.
A lot of difficulties in growing up in primary school and high school. There tend to be a lot of bullying, and people have knocked my turban off before, and sometimes you question things. Why do you do this? Why? But when you actually read up on the history of how, you know, Sikhs have been oppressed and how they've come from oppression to one of the fifth largest religion, and times like that you think, what can you do? You can either surrender and try and gel in and, you know, try not to get bullied, or you can stand up for what you believe in and people will actually accept you for that. And I'm kind of glad things like that happen, because they're just obstacles that you can overcome.
There were times when I wasn't given job because people thought it was a safety hazard. I was surprised to hear that, because I mean, in World Wars, we had our battalion and everything. It wasn't a safety hazard then, but then I had to sort of learn. Then I thought, oh, people are quite ignorant about my turban here. So I started doing some training courses and raise awareness not only of turban but also about my culture and religion, and then carried on sort of doing cultural awareness courses really.
I must admit, I haven't had any difficulties with wearing a turban. I think the difficulties have been faced by our elders in our community, and luckily they've sort of stepped up, put things right, changed legislation, so we've got an easy ride, I think, my generation.
I think we did, because we predominantly went to an English school, and we got all the stereotype name calling, but I think that made us stronger as a person.
Those that do wear a turban, there is always, throughout points in their life, there is points where they do face maybe bullying or, you know, name calling, stigmatised because of the turban, because they stand out from the crowd, but they wear it with pride, and I think they overcome that by following the faith.
You'll have coincidences where people think you might be a Muslim or you might be a different culture person.
I think everyone's faced a bit of a difficulty, but it's just overcoming the fears and explaining and telling them why we wear it. It should be all good.
Yes, many responses like that, but I mean, you know, one I can never forget, because when I came here, as I said, you know, people wouldn't give me job because of my turban. Then I got one job in social services, and once jokingly my area team officer said to me, I didn't give you a job because of your merits, I only gave you a job because I liked your turban. I said, you have said it in a joke, but it's the best compliment I can have, because all the time people said you can't get a job with turban, and you gave me a job because of my turban. So I really remember that.
My turban has actually worked in my favour in a number of cases. I have people coming up to me in the streets, or when we used to go out and stuff with friends, I would have random people coming up to me, just shaking my hand and saying, oh, yes, you're a Sikh, you follow the Sikh faith, I have a lot of respect for you, your forefathers fought in the World War, because of Monty Panesar, the cricketer, when people see, they say, oh yeah, you're Sikh. So I've had positive views with regards to my turban.
I think the most interesting, I had a colleague at work a few years ago when I was a student. She goes to me, have you ever showered with that? And I go, no. So I had to explain everything and go through it all and what the turban is. And but someone who sees you all the time with a turban, it automatically assumes that's what you have all the time. I go day to day working, and there's quite a lot of people who actually show a lot of respect. Quite a lot of people who have gone into the wars, elderly customers of mine in the bank which I work at, and they should come and shake my hand and say, you're a Sikh, and it's part of identity, and they've met Sikhs and fought in the war, and they understand what the principles and what a Sikh actually means. And for me, that's an honour, and I always, you know, But I wouldn't forget that.
Yeah, nowadays everybody's aware of the turban. Whoever wear turban is a Sardar Sikh, so they call them by respect, which is Sardar Ji. Otherwise, you call Oi, which is no good. But person, if you see a person with a turban, that's Sardar Ji, which is a very respectful word. Identity.
Pride.
It's my crown.
I'm very proud that I do wear turban.
Magnificent.
Identity.
Transcendent.
Amazing.
And you?
Amazing.
Respect.
Crown.
It's a gift from God.
For me, it's identity.
I'd say it's the Nishan, which is the symbol of who we are.
It's like a crown to us, and like I say, I'm proud of it.
It's identity.
Amazing. Crown.
Singh's turban is his crown.
Identity. Truthfulness.
Excellent.
Different.
My crown. Me. That's all.
Something glorious.
In one word, it's my identity.
Spiritual.
Crown.
Beautiful.
One word only you want? That's me. I'm Mr. Singh. I always wearing the turban. That's I call myself. I am Sikh. Any more question?